I once said that I am an abstract writer, so I don't necessarily, not like the abstract like I'm writing abstracts for a story, but I think abstractly when I'm writing. So character details, I don't put in as many as I should. I focus a lot on action and emotions and stuff like that, and so those are my stronger points. So when I edit a story, I go back and I add in some more details and stuff. And for example, I'm writing a novel called Phil Cal's. It's a tentative title. You can read it on my Patreon for free. I post updates once a month with what I've been writing. And I went back because the main character in that novel is a character in this story, and I wanted to make sure I got the character description correct. And I realized my main character in my novel, the only characteristics I've really talked about is his hair is brown, he's in his mid-20s, he acts casual, and that if you really focus on his eyes, they're kind of trippy. But I didn't even say the color of his eyes now that I think about it. So those are details I'm going to have to go back and add in that story. But that's just an example of like my process. So things that I do and things that you'll see when I do my first write through of a story. So that's usually why. Well, that's exactly why I don't ever share the first write through of a story unless I did something really well in a scene. But even if I'm going to share that after I write it, I edit it before I share it. So I guess technically I never really let anyone see my raw story anymore. But yeah. So this story is about Christopher. It's set in Chicago in 1960, although there's no descriptors in the story that would say it was in Chicago in 1960. That's my intent, so I'll probably have to add those later. So he is being watched by two vampires, basically, and they both want to sire him. And he's faced with confronting the fact that vampires are real, and confronted with the fact that he has to become one, and he has to make the decision. So that's the crux of the story. And it's just going to be a short story. I don't know how long it's going to be, but I'll take a drink of water here, and then we'll get into editing this first part. Because part of my process is when I open up a story I've been working on, I read the bits before the where I left off. I do an edit, add some things if I need to, fix grammar, stuff like that. And it helps me generate ideas for continuing the story. It just kind of gets my juices flowing, gets me in the mindset. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. There's not too much talking for this part because I'm going to be reading. And if I make an edit and stuff like that, I will stop and explain why I'm making that change. So yeah, and please ask questions along the way if you want to talk about anything. Still Twitch, still stream, so feel free to do that. Oh, and I also wanted to bring up this goal down here. Let's see if I can point to it. At the bottom of my camera, I am starting doing a channel goals, and right now it's a plushie. I figured it would be fun to decorate my channel with plushies. You can see the plushies that I want to buy in my wish list below on my Twitch panels. I'm going to be pulling plushies from that to go towards the goal, and this time it's like a 4-foot dragon. I'll be putting it on my bed. I put up the one plushie I have over there. It's a Cabot from oh my goodness, it's one of my favorite, one of my favorite animes, and I'm completely forgetting it, and I apologize. Oh, Tenchi. There we go. Tenchi Muyo. Yeah, it's the Cabot from that. The cat that, or the thing that kind of looks like a cross between a rabbit and a cat that can turn into a spaceship. So my friend bought that for me years ago. I have another plushie. It's a slime from the final, or from Dragon Warrior. What do they call that series now? Dragon Quest. And so I need to get that, but it's my mom's packed away, so I need to get that. And hopefully a plushie will be appearing on the bed over the weeks and months to come. If you want to help towards that goal, you just click the donate button in one of my panels and do a donation. Yeah, alright, so now I'm actually going to start reading this and talking about it.
You want to see the hair?
I would like to see her hair. No, ma'am, not that hair.
I love that. That's what you want.
Oh my god, there's ads. I apologize. I don't subscribe to Spotify. I should have played the downloaded songs, but I wanted the artist to get the money. I'm using royalty-free music
Rated R, only on
from
video.
Hellas Keller, Alpha Gaming. So, yeah, apologize for that, but I guess there's going to be background ads. It's kind of like listening to the radio. If they get annoying, I can turn off their music too. Alright, so I found the first thing I'm going to edit. So these two sentences are perfectly fine by themselves, grammatically speaking, but they don't flow very well. I want them more connected. So they're kind of like the same thought. So I'm going to use a semicolon in this case to say that they're panic connected, but they're also separate. So I'm going to reread that, make sure it sounds like I want it to sound. Actually, I could probably do with a comma there. Yeah, I think comma is more appropriate. It's a long sentence, and I try to avoid long sentences. It's just something that my college professor that I really enjoyed, that taught writing, kind of beat into me in one of the lessons I took away. The use of semicolons and breaking sentences down into smaller sentences. So the two things I really took away from the teacher that I think about. And there's a lot of other influence, obviously. Those are the two rules that I really took to heart. So, back to the reading. See, I don't like I like all of them more. I don't know. It's just, rather than I could just say it made it more obvious to Christopher, but I kind of like the flair here, so I'm going to just ignore that. It makes the sentence longer, but I like the little personality it adds. Oh, thank you for the follow. Oh, hi Sundown. Oh, right now I'm just... Alright, so I stopped here. This sentence is kind of long, but I also made a grammatical error. Took a few moments for his eyes to adjust, but he could make out. Yeah, make out. There were 3 young white men in their early 20s manhandling a black woman. Yeah, that sounds better. Thanks for joining me, I really appreciate that. If people are following along and I'm moving it too fast, let me know. Is a comma there. It's kind of an awkward sentence, but it reads alright. Because it's there's a lot going on here. Is just because it's compacting multiple things going on at once, and I kind of wanted to convey that. Hopefully, it works. But usually, my sentences are not this long. So I'm going to add that the man jumped, so there's like kind of calling back to the previous sentence where he should have been surprised, but he'll just turn and face Christopher without being surprised. So I'm going to add in a little descriptor. No, I should put it after the man. I'm going to make it slightly jumped. And praise Christopher laughing. Yeah, I think that's a better sentence. Let's see what this suggests. I think the comma there is a really dumb idea, and I'm going to ignore that. Comma here, though, does make a little sense. Definitely don't need 2 periods. Oh, slightly bit of a description of him again. He's taller than someone, but I didn't describe how tall she was. Yeah, I'm gonna have to work on adding descriptors. I don't think it needs a comma there either. I can see why the computer recommended it. I'm not going to say in his body shivered. I think I just do it with a comma. He has the oddest feeling, his body shivered. Yeah. No, I think I can change it around a little bit to be a little bit more consistent. Make a little bit more sense. I think you should shiver, then have the oddest feeling. He shivered slightly, comma, it was the oddest feeling. Because I think this was important because I'm trying to make this beginning kind of compact, and I want it to seem like things are happening and then they're being felt because the act of feeling it is taking place before the act of it happening is taking place before the act of feeling it. So this makes more sense. So like you shivered and it was like an odd feeling. So I hope that makes sense. It's kind of almost metaphysical in a way, but that's like my thought process when I see things, and that's why I make these changes, and hopefully people can learn from that. There should be a period there. Alright, so if you're following along, this is the break to another scene right here. What happened here was basically Christopher saw that someone was attacking a black woman. It looked like they might be raping her, is what I was trying to get across without saying rape. Or sexually assault or any of those terms. So I was trying to set a situation so it looked like that's what they're about to do. So he decided to interfere, beat up the man that seemed to be the leader, and the other two ran away. This next scene is from someone else's perspective of the previous scene. I thought about how to do this for a while because I'm kind of doing what they do in the movies where they do different perspectives and stuff like that. But I'm doing it in kind of like short scenes. To try to get a more action-packed, fast feeling with the story. So this scene is from the perspective of someone else, as I was saying, watching the scene above. And when I write scenes, it's usually from the perspective of one character. So like the previous scene, like there's multiple characters that I wanted to have take part of the scene. I would generally only use this perspective for one of the characters, so any internal dialogue would only be from one specific character. That's usually my writing style, although I have broken it at some points and kind of shifted into multiple people in a scene, but I understand that doesn't make sense, so I try to avoid it. At least it doesn't make sense to me, unless I write all of the characters. Yeah, it's just consistency and choosing a style. I could try to talk more academically about it, but honestly, my writing is a lot about feeling and using my own experiences. I've definitely taken classes and I've definitely learned structures and stuff like that, but it's been mostly through trial and error and what works for me, and hopefully the style that is developed people enjoy. Okay. I'm gonna go back to reading here. So this sentence needs to change slightly. He was about to jump as he saw another young man after several years younger than the one attacking the woman. Yeah, so first of all, it's too long. Definitely can break this into 2 sentences, so I'm going to work through this. Normally it wouldn't take me as long as it's about to take me, but I'm trying to explain our process, so it doesn't. So it'll take a little longer. So he was about to jump as he saw another young woman. So that should be 1 sentence for me. But I also don't like exactly how it's written, so I'm going to rewrite it slightly. He was about to jump as he saw
with tons of delicious nachos loaded with your favorite toppings, Taco Bell's Nachos Party Pack always brings the fun. Game day is now.
Game day with nachos.
Turn that monthly book club into
a monthly book club.
Oh, that's what I did.
Or watching reality shows with your roommates could be
reality shows with roommates with nachos.
So
yeah, so it's going to also have to change the sentence. How I'm afraid. So he was about to jump as he saw a young man
locations for a limited time.
Enter what?
Triscuit crackers are here to save you from falling into a snacking rut with their satisfying crunch, delicious flavor, and wholesome ingredients as you tackle your to-dos. Yes,
so
even that post-vacation inbox. Bring it with Triscuit. Tap to learn more.
Love getting prices that are lower than low on everything from fresh food to apparel, home goods, and even electronics.
Right.
Then shop at Fred Meyer.
He's already entered the alleyway.
Use your new or existing My Freddy's Rewards card to unlock personalized savings and in-store specials instantly. Now that's getting you prices that are lower than low. Fred Meyer, fresh for everyone.
If you like extra cash, the Fred Meyer Rewards MasterCard is the card for you. You'll earn 5% cash back on the first $2,500 you spend. Tap to learn more.
There. I think that's a better set of sentences. Oh! Hi, Mile High Knitter. Thanks for logging in, and thanks for giving me saying I'm crushing it. Try my best. Let's see. Silently. Also, I'm a terrible speller. I will be using the spell check a lot. Alright, so let's see how it reads now. He was about to jump as he saw a young man enter the alleyway. He looked several years younger than the man attacking the woman. The young man was moving fairly silently towards the attackers. Alright, so normally I would do just the silently here and not the fairly silently as it's suggesting. I'm going to ignore it once. The reason why is that I'm trying to make it look from the perspective of Draven here, that this person that's moving really silently that I've established in the previous scene, what that was too silent for the attackers to hear him. I'm trying to make it seem like this person could move more silently, and that despite how silent that Christopher is moving, this man thinks it's only slightly silently. So it's kind of speaking to the perspective, and I guess I should put a hyphen there. Perspective of Draven and his abilities. Let's see. Draven watches the man approach the three other men. I'm just going to say the attackers, because I established them as attackers, so I can shorten the sentence here. And we've established Christopher is the one in the red jacket. I'm not using Christopher's name because Draven doesn't know who Christopher is. So I have to be creative in how I distinguish what is going on. And I may not have been as creative as I would have liked. We'll see. We'll say the young men here to help describe or make it more obvious that it is Christopher he's talking about. So here I'm, it's the end of the perspective of the last scene, and the connector here is that that Christopher looked down the alleyway, which is what brought Draven's attention to Christopher, because Draven was so silent that he is surprised that someone would have looked down the alleyway like he did. So it's like Draven thinks he might see something in Christopher. And I guess the next part of that highlights that too. So this is, continuation from Draven's perspective. Oh, yeah, it's not supposed to be that. And this is where we find out Draven's a vampire. I didn't want to really beat around the bush about the vampirism and try to because that would, maybe for a longer story, that would make more sense, but I'm doing this for a short story and from his perspective, for goodness sake. So, and the reason he was there was to kill those people anyways, which I think should have made sense based on how I wrote it. So this is going to tell me to reduce it to this 2. The reason I'm not doing that is because it's important to make it known that it is an attempt and not like he's actively trying to make it look like he's falling off the building. So that's why that word choice here is important despite what Microsoft says. So yeah, it's almost making him look a little careless, which this character is most definitely not careless. He just doesn't care too much about being found out, and that's who this character is, and I'm trying to highlight that he doesn't care that the humans find out that someone died of blood loss. But he still cares a little bit to make it a half-hearted attempt to make it look like he just fallen and broken his neck or something. Let's do hyphen. Alright, so this sentence here seems a lot to me, so I'm going to reread it. Yeah, this till they were in bed seems tacked on, so I'm going to try to think of a way to change that. I might just delete it and imply that that's when you left, but I kind of like saying that's when you left. Draven spent the rest of the evening sitting on the roof and listening to the home. Eventually, Chris. No, he doesn't know that. Or not yet. The family went to bed. That's still not perfect, but I think it's going to work for this pass. And I'm sure I'll catch it when I reread it again. But I'm not happy with that, but I'm not sure how I'm going to fix it yet. I'm just going to move on to the next part of the writing. So this whole thing here, I may rewrite it if I want to make the story longer. I could actually write, he hears something, the then actually have the characters in the house speak, to highlight the information that tomorrow he's spending the day at school, and spend the day at school, and he's gonna meet his uncle for lunch. Those are the two key things I want to have taken away from this part of the scene. So I could do this and make it longer by having it play out in a more scene-like fashion instead of just what's it called? Instead of just highlighting the information you need to know. So yeah, the choices I'd make if I was doing a novel, I would definitely think harder and have that scene play out. Yeah, alright, so continuing on. No, they're just trying to change up the word variants here, so it's extremely rare, very unexpected. I like having the very there. Maybe I should add that a variant word there because this character isn't me, so I shouldn't have it talk like what I would prefer, I guess. I'm not necessarily the best at varying my tones for different characters like I should be, so it's something to think about. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do extremely rare. Very unexpected. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. So yeah, sometimes Microsoft gives me some ideas that are worth thinking about. I ignore them 80% of the time, I think. When it comes to the grammar selections, spelling, obviously, I listen to it almost every time unless I think they're trying to give me the wrong word. Alright, continuing on. See, Draven looked over the night sky. He's not really looking over the sky in the description that I have following that, so maybe the night's scene would make more sense because it's kind of evaluating the scene. The lights were cluttering up the view, the buildings were breaking the wind up in unnatural patterns, and the smell of civilization clung to the air. Yeah, the scene makes more sense than the night sky. And then just a brief mention of his past, just to throw that in there to highlight his age. And also the continuation of how humans exist in civilization. I think that's important to note because, and I actually wrote this from the specific part about descent coming from civilizations being similar. I wrote that specifically because there is a continuation, historically, at least in the West, of kind of smell patterns from the medieval ages. And cities always just kind of have a certain smell, even though the smell changes, there's like unnatural smells.
You don't know me, but you've probably heard of me in the news lately.
I wanted to have that.
I've been creating life-saving medicines.
You could probably have came to this conclusion without going to school,
and I need you
obviously,
to
and just reading.
I am your way to help patients around the world.
That came from
I am promised.
Guide
Donate
to
me today
medieval
at a Griffles Plasma Center.
A traveler's guide.
New donors to Griffles can earn up to $500 in their first month of donating. Start earning today.
A traveler.
What's it like to grow with the O? At OCCU, we support duck fans each step of the way by educating our youth with Lucky Duck Savings, celebrating independence with Duck Debit Checking, and rewarding members with the Duck Credit Card. That's how duck fans grow with OCCU. Learn how you can too at myoccu.org/ducks.
And of course,
today's banking should be as easy as using your favorite app, and it is with MyOCCU online and mobile banking. Make deposits, transfer funds, and pay bills. MyOCCU online and mobile banking is secure and simple to navigate. It's banking at your fingertips, and there are 2 easy ways to get started. Sign up for online banking at myoccu.org/enroll, or download the MyOCCU mobile app to your phone or tablet.
Yeah, I'm going to change how I spoke there. I'll follow him tomorrow and see how interesting this character, this Christopher person is. Or might be. Alright. I'll follow him tomorrow and see how interesting this Christopher person might be. I think that sounds a little bit better. Jumped off the roof and walked back to his hotel. After all, he had school tomorrow. Alright, so this is about where I left off with the story. I started writing the next scene a little bit. The next scene is taking place the next day. It's from the perspective of Christopher. He's sitting down for lunch with his uncle after going through his classes for the day. And so the things I want to have accomplished in this scene is, 1, Christopher's going to school for like liberal arts and stuff like that. He doesn't like it. This is his first term. His uncle thinks it's a good idea for him to do this, but he doesn't want to. He's doing it because his family expects it. I mean, that kind of angle. Anyways, I'm not sure how explicit I'll be in that. I just want to get across the idea that he is not happy with going to school, and that he's much happier learning to fight and fighting. You also find out his uncle is the one teaching him his fighting. So I want to get across that he's teaching him his fighting, that his uncle thinks is also important for him to finish school. Christopher wants to do professional fighting. His uncle doesn't want him to follow down that path, so he's trying to steer him clear of that. Then at one moment, I'm going to have the uncle stand up, alert, look through the crowd, see nothing that he wants to talk about, sit back down, apologize for what he did, and then Christopher will have an initial dialogue about how that was odd. They'll talk about like what happened. He'll kind of like nothing. I also want to talk about that Christopher got into a fight. I'm not sure if I'm going to bring that up. And his uncle's going to be like, you shouldn't fight too much. But he understands, helping out people here and there, kind of discussion. And then that'll be about it. That's the information I want to convey in this next scene. And it'll mostly be through dialogue. Dialogue is one of the funnest things for me to write, because I'm not the best speaker, and words get jumbled up in my brain because of my ADHD and writing disorders that I have. So when I want to say something, it might come out differently or not as eloquently. Like I might have the perfect line in my head, and what comes out doesn't match what was in my head. But with writing, I have time to tinker. I can be more eloquent. I can fix what I said. So it's a fun experience for me, I guess, and I enjoy writing dialogue. Coming up with pertinent information to drive the narrative forward through dialogue is a fun experience for me. So we'll be doing that, and I'll try to talk through that experience. So most of this will be dialogue. the key for the standing up bit for his uncle, and the reason why I need to do that is because he is also a vampire, not that anyone knows about it. Oh, and in my world, vampires are more like Bram Stoker's Dracula. They can go out for the daytime, they're just weaker. So, not... Oh, hello. Oh, yeah, I'll turn down the music. Let's see. Is that better? Or is that too low? Too low. Alright. So, try here. That's just slightly lower. Alright, perfect. Thank you. So yeah, the reason why I want his uncle to stand up is because he's also a vampire. But he is sensing that Dreven is following him, or is somewhere in that crowd. And then, after this scene, I'm going to go to the scene where Dreven is following around Christopher and is following him to his lunch. And then, that's the point where the scenes match up, and kind of like the time is moving forward again. So, when I change scenes, sometimes it'll go back and take a scene from from a different perspective. So there's a little bit of time jumping back and forth here, but I'm trying to not have it be too disorienting. So I will have these key moments where something happens in both scenes, so you kind of know where the time is for the story. All right, so let's go ahead and get into editing this paragraph here. Oh, nice. And hello, Bit of Welsh. We're getting pretty close to the beer taste challenge. Oh, yeah, I completely forgot to talk about that. I'm also doing my in channel points. I'm doing a group challenge to see if people are interested in me doing a beer tasting stream later down the road. So if you contribute your channel points, or called synth points, towards that goal, and if people do that, I'll know you're interested, and I will plan a beer tasting stream. And this beer tasting stream will just be me buying 6 beers and then drinking them on screen. I'm going to be picking out the beers well in advance, and so you can also go and find the beers for yourself and follow along at home if you want to. So there'll be a week or two where I post the beers before I actually do the actual stream. So if it gets funded, it'll still be a few weeks till the actual stream. And then, based on a suggestion from Octavian, I'm going to do a stream before that, kind of like a sub hype or a bit hype or something like that, where for every $10 or 1,000 bits I get, I will add another beer up to a total of 10 beers. So I could add another 4 beers to the beer type tasting menu. I'll probably do that a week before. I'm not sure when I do that stream. But anyways, yeah. So that's the beer tasting stream. And Octavian just threw in another 2,000, make their contribution 4,000. So we're at 9k raise. So we need less than 1,000 points if you're interested in throwing your points that way. All right. So we'll. Oh no! I'm gonna add some. There we go. Some lines to it so I can actually read above my camera, so you can follow along. Take another drink. And yeah, if you have any questions at all, please post them. Okay, next on to the last paragraph of whatever I have written. And then we'll get into actually typing and trying to figure out how that goes on stream. I guess, yeah, Semicolon makes sense there. Golden brown, not gold brown. That's weird. I don't like using the of course here and of course here. So I'm going to change that to for sure is not surprised. There. Christopher is not surprised his uncle would choose to eat on the patio. He says, book satchel down next to the I don't need to say the patio chair, that seems redundant. I'll just say his chair. And took a seat. And surprise should be spelled correctly. So now I'm gonna have his uncle walk up. No, I'm gonna say his uncle was already there. Alright, so now I'm trying to think about how I want to proceed here. So, sitting across from his uncle and then, yeah. Because his uncle is older than his uncle looks to be in his mid-20s, but his uncle is actually a vampire that's ageless. So, and his uncle's never really talked about his age. So I'm gonna do a little bit about his uncle's backstory from Christopher's perspective. Just yeah. I actually haven't thought about what I'm going to call his uncle yet. His real name is... Oh, I wrote it down somewhere. It's a weird fantasy name. But it's Philip Klaus. So in this time period, his name is something different. Good evening. Thank you for the follow. I'm sorry, it's really hard for me to pronounce that name. Hans Zach. Oh, thanks for joining me on stream. Hansa. Okay. Thank you. That'll be easier. See. Yeah, so now I'm just explaining that oh yeah, the name. Like, I haven't really thought of a name for him, but it's basically his cover name, not his real name. Because he changes his names throughout the centuries, so he can live in the human world without causing problems. So every generation or two, he gets rid of his name. I'm writing a short story. It's set in the current time period. Well, set in 1960s Chicago. It's an urban fantasy story. It's about two vampires that want to turn an 18-year-old man, Christopher, into a vampire, and he's forced to make the choice between which vampire he wants to become a child to. And I haven't got to the point where he's been forced with that decision. I'm just doing kind of like the lead up to that decision. And this is the third scene, I think, where he's having lunch with his uncle, which is actually a vampire. But he's known most of his life. Yeah, it kind of chooses your master, and these vampires are not going to take no for an answer, and I'm not sure if I'm going to bring that up or not, where he doesn't have a choice of if he's going to be a vampire or not. He's going to be a vampire. One of them is going to be siring him. So but I'm not sure if that's going to get brought up or not. So, yeah. But I'll probably bring that up. Yeah, they're just glossing over that situation. Yeah, kind of hiding it. But that would be a great moment of tension, so I should put that in the story. Yeah, I definitely see some vampires doing it that way. These two vampires have a long history. It's kind of a complicated backstory. So they're basically deciding not to fight over it and to let him choose. So, because one of them, the uncle, that's a vampire, has been kind of like grooming him for the last 10 years of his life to become the vampire child that he would like. So, yeah, it's a little bit more complicated than some of the like vampire movie stories I've seen. And I haven't read too many vampire stories, but alright. I'll take another drink of water and back into writing the scene here. And I kind of already have decided who he's going to choose at the end of the story. But I'm not sure how that scene will play out exactly. But I do know who he's going to choose, and I kind of know the end scene. But I'm not going to give that away, because why not? Why would I give that away yet? Let's see. Oh, let's see. His uncle was older than him. Yeah. Ending scenes are hard for me. I'm really difficult at ending my stories, and I've only finished one novel, and it's not really finished. And I'm not really happy with the ending scene. I'm not sure how to end it. And then the novel I'm currently writing with Philip Clow's novel, which you can read on my Patreon for free if you're interested. I kind of have like the high point figured out, but not the end point. I kind of got the end point figured out, but I don't have an end scene. But I kind of know how it's going to end, so it's a little bit better than the other novel I wrote. So yeah, so this is different for me in the fact that I actually know where the story is going to end and kind of where it's going. I don't usually have that when I'm writing a story, so I'm kind of excited to see how this writing project will go. It should be a lot more fluid than my other writing projects. The fact that I've hardly ever written a short story because I can't figure out how to end it is constantly on my mind. yeah, definitely have to go through those rewrites. Glad you're also being productive while listening. That's awesome. Yeah, like I have to definitely go through, and I was talking about at the beginning of my screen, my process. Like I will write something, and I will, when I go back to review the work, I will always start from the beginning and edit back down to the last point where I finished. And if I want to write more, because I have to constantly rewrite what I wrote, and yeah, so I completely understand about making it readable and improving upon it. I go through that same difficulty. I have to do it less than I used to, I think, just because I've gotten a little bit better at the first write, but definitely still have to go through it, make it readable, improve upon it to get a better work. Alright, so I think that paragraph is done. Yeah, I'm worried about, like, the first novel I finished, like, actually having to delete scenes and pages and stuff because it didn't work right. I get really attached to keeping things. So I'm not, like, almost like a writing hoarder in a way, where if I write something, like if I have to like cut off like 2 pages out of 10 or something like that, it just feels gut-wrenching. And so that's stuff I have to do for my first novel that I wrote. Mostly I have to add scenes that I left out though, honestly. But there's definitely some scenes that need to be completely rewritten, and like I don't want to go and do that, so I have put that off for so long. So I understand your pain. So I guess that paragraph's done. I mean, situated that his uncle has been around for half his life, slightly over half his life. I haven't indicated anywhere that Christopher is actually 18. I will at some point. I've just been calling him a young man. In fact, I'm going to be highlighting that this is his first term of school, and I'll probably talk about his age in this scene. So yeah, let's get to... Let's see why they say that. That's dumb. That's wrong. Alright, so the next scene is going to be dialogue. Hello, you know, stuff like that. And we'll go from there. Oh, so you changed your main villain too. That's probably a really big change. I've right in the Philip Kyle story, I've done some adding and taking away. Like I realized, like my world got a lot more complex as I wrote more of the story, so I had to go back and rewrite some of the scenes to highlight some, or to drop breadcrumbs in later scenes. But I haven't just flat out, well, I guess I kind of changed, I developed my villain more, but I haven't flat out changed a villain to a hero like that. Oh yeah, I was going to name his Uncle George, wasn't I? Oh, you are keeping the main villain, just changing the story around him. Oh, okay. Oh, that sounds like a pretty involved storyline. Oh, nice. So it's going to be kind of like a mentor turned evil thing, or the main hero just not realizing maybe he was a villain after all until... Yeah, okay. It's a good story hook. Oh yeah, I need to name my uncle. If anyone has any names for 1960s, I was going to go with George, but I'm really bad with names, so if anyone comes up with anything else, I kind of want an old-timey English American name. So if you come up with something else besides George, it sounds better. Yeah, Georgie. That was the wrong spot anyways, Uncle George. Paul? Paul could work, yeah. Something for... something, a little longer, a little bit more syllables. But Paul work for now for sure. I might even keep it. Ooh, I like Oliver. I have a friend that goes by Vincent, so I don't really want to use that. Same for Jacob, but yeah, Oliver. I like that. Definitely going to be Oliver. Also, I use a program called Campfire to keep track of notes and stuff. So I'm going to put down his alias in his character description. 1960s Chicago. Yeah. Oh, there's a save button somewhere. Save story, there we go. Usually, for a lot of my things, like I'll first ask my friend Dale. Yeah, well, I can emphasize with you. I'm pretty bad. You might be worse. I'm not sure. We could just be just as bad. I'm not. But yeah, I usually ask my friend Dale for advice for names. When he's not feeling very creative, I then go to a generator. I use generators a lot. Yes, most names seem too ordinary. I got the I'm lucky enough to be writing it in contemporary-ish. Oh, wrong story. Writing contemporary-ish, so I can just pull from average names. But for fantasy, it's really hard to come up with names. So that's why I kind of like urban fantasy. It makes it a lot easier. Actually, maybe I don't want Christopher to talk first. Yeah, I'm gonna have his uncle speak. And I already know that I'm gonna be rewriting this in the future. Oh, is Christopher always supposed to talk first?
This year. emergency
more commercials. I want to continue doing the streams. I'm definitely going to pay for Spotify so I can not have these ads. I apologize again.
Perfect for new savers because it pays a higher interest rate on the first $500, even if you open the account with as little as $1. Ignite Savings is another way OCCU invests in its
just from your experience. Okay. Yeah, elf named Greg. I would do that, but it'd feel almost like satire. And you're absolutely right. It doesn't feel right. And I'd only want to use ordinary names for elves when like I'm trying to make a point. So yeah, I completely get that. And something about this world, it's like an urban fantasy setting, but at some point this fantasy world is going to merge into this world, so some characters will have fantasy names, like
at Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom.
The uncle is actually old enough that his original name is a fantasy name. I forgot exactly what it was. It's like Therazin or something like that. I'd have to look it up.
Charmin's Super Mega Roll is 6 regular rolls in one. Enjoy the go.
No, that's okay. You don't need to do that, but I appreciate the offer. Alright, so Christopher's good, Church Evil. And unlike Beta Welsh's experience, I am going to have his uncle talk first. It's not going to be Christopher. So basically the character is going to ask Christopher how his day went. Christopher's going to kind of talk about his day. This is where we're going to launch into the discussion about how he doesn't really like college. And he wants to pursue his career as a fighter. And I thought a lot about this book, and I wanted Christopher to not be a fan of college and not like history specifically. I wanted history to be brought in this conversation because I am in fact a history major, so I get a chance to go on about history and why it's important a little bit from his uncle's perspective. Because it is important. Liberal arts matters. Maybe not financially, but it kind of helps you broaden your perspective and gives you more experiences that you would not otherwise have. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about that in this conversation. Banana on the wall? I'm not sure what you mean by banana on the wall. See, I'm not a fan. Okay. Not a fan of world history, though. Oh, okay. It's an interesting name for liberal arts pieces. So, I'm not completely happy with that dialogue, but right now the important part is get it out there, and I will fix it in another pass. Which is usually what I do. Slightly self-conscious because people are reading it now, and I don't usually share this pass. So yeah, just know it will be better. Let's see. I don't want to draw out the conversation about the physical stuff and not just be so blunt. I'm trying to think about how I can ease that more into the discussion here with his uncle without just blatantly saying things. So, I mean, I don't like studying, but you're good at it, so oh, half-heartedly is an actual word. I honestly thought it was a hyphenated word. I feel dumb. I know you and my parents want me to do this, but it doesn't feel right. Sue, which I spelled wrong because I'm a bad speller. Alright, so, yeah, I know you and my parents want me to do this, but it doesn't feel right. I'd rather pursue my fighting. That's one thing I enjoy studying. I'm gonna say the one thing I enjoy studying. So that's my little spiel. It's not perfect. Oops, sorry. But it's okay, and I will expand on it later. This is more of like a general statement about why college is good. It's not the specific statement about why history is good, which I will still want to write. Let's see. I know, and you are good at fighting, but that's not all there. But that's not all there is in the world. It's important to learn about the past, to learn about other cultures. It gives you insight into how other people think and behave. It helps you decide what kind of person you would like to become. Alright, so this is where I'm going to introduce the age. And I should probably spell young correctly. There we go. Why is my key not working? There we go. Alright, so there I introduced the age. That was something I said I needed to introduce, so now we know he's only 18. This is only... let's see what they say. Why is that highlighted? Yeah, I can see that being a semicolon. See, this is where I have to like dig a little deeper, because Christopher's explaining why he doesn't like college, and since I liked it so much, I had to think about reasons why people wouldn't like it. Like emotionally not like it, not like logically not like it. Like it costs too much, stuff like that. So I need to think about how Christopher would phrase his dislike for college, and so would take a drink of water while I think about that, because it's important to the story. It's important to the character development.
That are lower than low on everything from fresh food to apparel, home goods, and even electronics? Then shop at Fred Meyer. Use your new or existing My Freddy's Rewards card to unlock personalized savings and in-store specials instantly. Now that's getting you prices that are lower than low. Fred Meyer, fresh for everyone.
We're here to help you save on the food and
no, that's not a feeling
Just
uselessness.
buy 5 or more participating sale items, and you'll save $1 each with card. Fred Meyer, fresh for everyone.
With tons of delicious nachos loaded with your favorite toppings, Taco Bell's Nachos Party Pack always brings the fun. Game day is now.
Game day with nachos.
Turn that monthly book club into
a monthly book club with nachos.
Or watching reality shows with your roommates could be
reality shows with roommates with nachos.
So gather your crew and enjoy
Taco Bell's Nachos Party Pack
at participating U.S. locations for a limited time.
Triscuit crackers are here to save you from falling into a snacking rut with their satisfying crunch, delicious flavor, and wholesome ingredients as you tackle your to-dos. Yes, even that post-vacation inbox. Bring it with Triscuit. Tap to learn more.
Let's see. It's not the workload, Uncle. I can cope with the extra work. I just sit in class and I don't want to be there. My mind is full of developing myself to be the best fighter. I want to get into boxing. I know you don't want me to, but it's something I've always wanted to do. Jay Wilburn, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Let's see. That's not exactly right either. Seems a little hokey. Actually, after the stream, I might actually reach out to some of my other friends to get a perspective on this. This is enough? What is enough? So I might reach out. Oh, well, I guess we'll check my DMs really quick. Sorry for the pause. Oh, the Spotify thing. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing, but it's asking for my home address, which I'm assuming needs to be your home address. So if you want to give me your home address, you can, but I completely understand not doing that. But yeah. Ads were getting annoying. So, yeah. I'm gonna apologize. Go ahead and chat. I'm gonna try to sort this out here, so we can get rid of these ads. Oh no. It looks like it won't work because it can tell that I'm not from your country. So I really appreciate that. I would have to get a VPN and say I was in your country, I guess. But I will go ahead and buy a month so we don't have to listen to these ads. Let's see. I haven't paid for Spotify in such a long time, so I don't remember how to. Alright, so let's see. Okay, probably should do this. Oh, it is off screen. Okay. Oh, I have to log out first. Alright. Sorry, this is taking a second. Trying to get back to English, it's not working. Okay, just about there. Okay. Join premium. Like, I've been enjoying the stream, so I'm probably going to do these again, and I will need the premium subscription, so I don't mind paying for it now. Yeah, pay now. Agree and pay. Alright, so hopefully, no more ads. Alright, so we'll get back to the writing. Alright, but I really appreciate that. And I was actually in your home city was it last year? Yeah, it was really a fun visit. I enjoyed myself. Right. So back to Christopher. It's not the workload. I'm going to cope with the extra work. Just sit in class. Yeah, so I'm going to have to, as I was saying, talk to some other people to get a little bit more perspective on the drive to fight. Like I have for my LARP, I have the drive to fight, but it's not. I don't think it's the exact same thing. So I'll have to reach out to some friends and get a little bit of perspective so I can write this paragraph a little bit better. But I think it gets the point across for a rough draft. Alright, so... Oh, I spelled that wrong. So I'm introducing a little bit of conflict's not the right word. So basically, I didn't think about doing this until this very moment. So Oliver is like with his uncle deciding, you know what? Okay, if we finish college, then we can talk about fighting. So he's kind of changing his mind during this conversation. Christopher is, you know, a bit surprised. So we're gonna go down that rabbit hole for a moment, because I kind of like that added complexity, the added incentive. Maybe get Christopher to stay in school a little bit longer. Key's being sticky, I don't know why. Alright. Yeah, it's probably one word. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Forgot to move it up. There, I can read it. So now, let's see. I will talk to your parents. They may not be happy, but they will come around. Let's see, they want to... I don't care about a comma there. In the meantime, focus on your work. I'll take care of your parents. Just make sure you get good grades. If you don't, I will stop training you. So at this point, I think it would be natural for the waiter to actually come around. So I gotta, you know, not just do dialogue. It's not a scene that is just abstract from the environment. And I usually am pretty good about these details. Back in college a long time ago, it's rudimentary, but people really enjoyed the fact that I wove what was going on in the scene with the dialogue. So I think it's gotten smoother and it's not as rough. Maybe on my first pass it's kind of rough, but I like how I do that with my dialogue. Yeah. Alright, so gonna make it a waitress. Gonna make this more outline. So I'm just gonna say water. Nah, orange juice. Let's just drinking orange juice. Not really important, but I feel a little competitive or repetitive by seeing the waitress again. Question mark, not a period. Alright. I just wrote down what? Oh, I guess there's an extra. Oh, Sovereign B, thank you for the subscribe. I appreciate it. And thanks for stopping by my art stream. First one I've ever done. Hopefully it's going alright. I'm enjoying it. And I got a K-pop emote for you doing that. Thanks. Alright, so what does Oliver want to eat? He doesn't need to eat food, but he can eat food, and he does eat food to keep up appearances. You still get the flavor of food, although it's muted. So I'm thinking steak doesn't seem very lunch-like. I was thinking maybe a chicken fried steak? Yeah, Sovereign, that's exactly my thought. I thought it was unique when I came up with the idea a couple weeks ago, so I thought I'd give it a try, and so far it's going pretty well. Oh, they're like in Chicago, so American food, kind of like a bistro. So maybe they wouldn't have chicken fried steak. They definitely have sandwiches, soups. I've been to bistros that have had chicken fried steak, but usually on a breakfast menu. But yeah, it's I'm happy to try the writing stream out and see if it works. I've managed to do alright so far on my... I've written about a page. Italian? Yeah. Thing is something meaty, though. While a decent cook, can only think of Italian pasta dishes right now. Oxtail? That wouldn't be at a bistro, though. Oh, is it? I never really thought of vampires and Italians. French food, for sure. People use French food a lot. Meatloaf. I think I'm going to do meatloaf. That's a good classic American food, I think. Might not be at a bistro. Definitely be at a diner. Could be at a posh diner where they have outdoor seating. Yeah, I think meatloaf is going to do it. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Vampires usually seen as classy, so they go with the French food and stuff like that. It makes perfect sense. Meatloaf is very much not classy. Alright. So, yeah. This character specifically doesn't do the fancy stuff. He tries to keep a low profile, and try to blend in and be the most ordinary he can. So, and that's why. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that was my thought. So, yeah, I mean, he's only really eating because he's with his adopted nephew. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Thanks for talking me through this. You're absolutely right. I made my decision and changed it to orange juice. I'm not sure what I didn't catch that now. I'm not sure if I would have caught it in my next read through either. I probably would have. Let's see. Water, but I'll take meatloaf, mashed potatoes, return to order. Sounds wonderful. I'll get them. Start work on it right away. And it's alright to correct if you see something. Oh, you're very welcome. I'm glad it helps on multiple levels. Hopefully I am writing sentences alright, and you aren't learning some bad habits. So this is slightly changed from what I originally intended. I want, like, Oliver, the uncle, is really dead set on making sure he stays close to Christopher. So it's kind of changed his mind slightly, allowing him to go into fighting. And if he does go into fighting, he wants to make sure he's still part of his life. So he's offering to become his coach and to manage him if he does go into fighting. So it's kind of like future-proofing his investment. At least that's how I see it. Apparently I just can't type Christopher correctly. So I'm basically saying that he doesn't think that you should do it, but if you do, I want there to be support. I want to be there to support you and make sure no one takes advantage of you. I want it so, and there's irony there because Oliver is certainly taking advantage of Christopher. And while Oliver does care about him, he's still using him for his own ambitions. So, a little double-sided there. I think this is where I will have Oliver stand up like he's seen someone that I talked about earlier. Yeah, no one's perfect. Yeah, so abruptly, and as I mentioned earlier, I am a horrible speller. I spelled that correctly, that's nice. So I changed the structure of the sentence there, because it just didn't sound right for the character. Yeah, I forgot to actually explain why I did that. Sorry. I fixed it before I even finished it on the screen. I kind of wanted to make it seem like Oliver is in his own little world for a moment. So yeah, I'm going to change this a little bit. Yeah, he'll be back to his ordinary self just a second. So I want Christopher to have been speaking, and then kind of is interrupted by Oliver standing up. Change this all around, so I'm gonna change the action so it's interspaced in the interspaced within the conversation, so it's not just a separate paragraph. So it gives it a little bit more immediacy. Yeah, spelled it wrong again. Alright, so now I can get rid of this sentence here where it said Oliver set up abruptly, because I worked it into when Christopher was speaking, "Thank you, Uncle, I really appreciate," and then before he could finish, he stopped as Oliver stood up abruptly. And that's makes it all the more interesting, I think, because it wasn't like a natural place, it was like, you know, they like interrupted something. So it seems even more unnatural. So yeah, showing through the illusion that he is presenting him, or Christopher with, basically, yeah. It's a good way to put it. Oh yeah, I hope you sleep well. I've done the 4-hour sleeps before. It's not the funnest. I really appreciate you stopping by and chatting. I really enjoyed it. Hope you have a good time visiting with your friend from Texas. Alright, probably won't be, but if you go to my Discord, which keeps getting posted in chat every 15 minutes, you could better follow my content, because I think I will be doing this again. I'm not sure how often I will be doing it, but it'll probably be the same time that I have been doing it on Saturdays at 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. But I'm not sure the next time I will do it. But I'm pretty sure I'll be doing one of these streams again. Oh, okay, yeah. Just following me works too. I appreciate that. Hope you sleep well.
Climb your canopy to make it rain from time to time. Tell me things I don't wanna know.
I spelled Oliver wrong too. Thank you. That's going pretty good, so luck seems to be on my side.
Gotta run. This a toast on my arms, ain't up enough. Hopeless, take it all from inside. If all's lost, then how could I fuck it up? Won't stay long. What a ride, gotta run. This a toast on my arms, ain't up enough. Hopeless, take it all from inside. If all's lost, then how could I fuck it up?
So, I'm at a point where I'm not sure where I want to go. Like, this is a natural ending point for the scene, I think. However, I didn't get across all the information I wanted to get across. Namely, that he was in a fight. And the reason why I want to put that, I want the character Oliver to know that Christopher got into a fight. So that Oliver has a chance to go and change some of the police records, because that will come up at a later date as to why Christopher is not being arrested for the man that died, because his friends said, well, this guy beat him up and now he's dead, so he must be, you know, the murderer. And so they told the cops this, so shouldn't the cops be investigating that? So it's important that Oliver knows that this encounter happened, so he can go to the police and fix the reports, so that Christopher doesn't get arrested. So I need to put that information in here, but I'm not exactly sure how to bring it up, because he didn't get punched, so there's no visible signs. I guess Christopher could be feeling guilty and bring it up. Yeah, I think that's the way I'm going to go. Christopher's feeling guilty because he knows his uncle doesn't like him fighting, and he is not just his uncle, he's also his teacher. So he respects him a whole ton, so he might just come forward with that information, so Yeah, there's another way I was thinking about bringing it up by Oliver just bringing up, you know, there was a murder recently just not that far from your house. And then Christopher will, like, think about the fight, and then Oliver will have some reason to go and fix the police reports. Not sure which way to go, and I need to pick right now. Well, I'm going to pick after I take a drink of water. So this is a natural ending point for the conversation. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up another conversation, because that's how it works in real life. You kind of like talk about something, and when you're done talking about it, you bring up something else. So he'll change the topic because he really wants to change the topic. Pie. There we go. A few minutes. So yeah, I'm happy with this transition. Alright, so I'm going to do this thing where Christopher gets a little nervous, like he's going to kind of assume he might have killed someone for a minute because he did punch him in the throat. He could have broke something. That wasn't his intention, though. And the body was gone. So he's not going to think about why the body was gone, but he's going to think about, well, maybe I killed someone. But the inconsistency of the body not being there can be brought up later and used. But it's human nature to kind of look over those details sometimes. So I'm going to leave it like that. apostrophe. Let's see what they say. Brands, that's dumb. Dumb suggestion. Profoundly serious, look very. They just don't like me using very. You looked. I guess I could rewrite it anyways. So Oliver is definitely taking this seriously. Oliver leaned in and spoke at a whisper. He had a serious look in his eyes. I don't know, but I will find out. Don't tell anyone else about this. Just go about your day like nothing happened. You did the right thing, no matter what. Remember that. So I think that's pretty concise and impactful. The goal was to have so at this point I could have Oliver, or have a scene where Oliver goes to the police and fixes the situation, but I'm not sure if I need to have that scene. But yeah, Nightbot is a thing. There's been enough chat that he's been posting my Discord server. There's like a limit. You have to have like a certain amount of chatters within a certain amount of time for it to post. It's not a bad idea for you to get the Nightbot too, if you have not. It has its uses. Oh, nice. Yeah, I will probably have a new layout here shortly, from the sound of things, and yeah. Yeah, I guess it depends on what platform you're using for sure. And I just went with Nightbot because it's connected to Stream Elements, I think. Oh, commands, timer, and whatnot. Yeah, I haven't gotten too deep into the specifics of doing that kind of stuff. Octavian has done a lot more, I think. And what I have learned, a lot of the ideas for I've gotten from Octavian and then worked on it from my own angle. Alright. So he leaned back, the concerned look on his face disappearing. Let's not speak of this again. You don't have to worry. So then I'm going to do one more paragraph where Oliver is uncertain about that and kind of like he's worried about that and it's on his mind. And that will be the end of this scene. Well, it's a good day to dive in. Piney's yeah, that's what I thought. Alright, so move on to this last paragraph here. Spelled that completely wrong. Oh yeah, the next part of my story. I haven't decided which scene I want to take or do. So I could launch into Oliver taking this information and fixing the situation by going to the police office or officers, doing some voodoo with the police report and some forced enthralling to alter memories to get Christopher off the hook. I don't know if I want to actually have that scene in the story. It will be explained later on, obviously. I don't know if it's more impactful for it to be a mystery for a while or not. But the next scene I think I will for certain be writing is it's a couple days later, and the bullies that were picking on, that were going to rape the woman, since their friend is dead, they think they know who did it. The police aren't investigating the lead, so they're going to go ahead and take care of Christopher himself and jump him in a park at night. It's going to be 5 people. He's going to take care of 2 of them, and then when he turns around, it'll be Draven standing over 3 bodies, and then it'll be the first confrontation between Christopher and Draven. And I think that's the scene I'm going to work on next. My sub goal, no, it's just a monthly number. I should come up with actual goals for my subs, for sub goal. But I haven't thought about it too much. I should do something special when I hit my goal, and I'm saying it now. I will do something special. I just don't know what yet. I'll have to think on that, and then think about the next sub goal after that. Second emote. That makes sense why it's at 15. Yeah. So I guess that unlocks an emote. Hopefully I'll have an emote to fill that spot. And it will eventually. Oh, okay. So 15, 25, and 35 for the goals. Or for the emotes. Well, hopefully I will have emotes to fill them. Or fill those spots. See, if I killed someone, how could I take care of it? How could he take care of it? I think that's where we'll leave off with that scene. Christopher looked at his uncle suspiciously. He didn't understand why his uncle was so calm. If I killed someone, how could he take care of it? I've always trusted my uncle. But if it's true and I killed someone, how can I live with myself? Yeah, add that one or two more sentences to kind of clean that up, I think. Get rid of the italicizing. Alright. Alright, so it's not the perfect ending for the scene. The food has arrived, it looked fresh, but for some reason Christopher didn't have as big of an appetite as usual. But it's an okay transition, so... And I'm on page 5, it started at a little over 1, so we're doing pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and say 4 pages. And it's been 2.5 hours. My average is usually about a page every 30 minutes, so I'm actually not doing too bad. I thought it was going to be a lot slower, honestly. So I have to think about how I want to start this scene. I could just start with a few days later. Yeah, I think I will do that and kind of transition to him thinking about what his conversation with his uncle during lunch. Oh no, I'm jumping ahead of myself. I completely forgot a scene. I have to do the scene where Drevin is following him. Yeah, alright. So I'm not doing the park night scene yet. That is the scene next. So this is going to be a short scene where Drevin has been following Christopher for all morning, and he finally finds him having lunch with his uncle. Then he recognizes the uncle, and he bounces. He gets the fuck out of there because he does not want his uncle to see him there. And that's at the time that his uncle is detecting that Drevin is there and stands up. So yeah, I'm going to be doing that scene. Take a drink. So we're going to do synth music. I'm glad I checked. Hopefully I don't get a strike. Okay. That's kind of intense music. Yeah, this should last us for the rest of the stream. If not, we can do lo-fi or EDM. Actually, I'm going to do lo-fi. Little better background noise, I think. Alright, so we'll get along with, or get into this next scene here. Oh, that's the wrong scene. Is it Drevin or Draven? Forgot how I spelled the name. Draven, okay. Not Drevin. Draven, there you go. Stayed outside in the halls both times, listening into the room. Draven had been following Christopher all morning. He had 2 classes. I want to talk a little bit about what Christopher looked like. Draven looked like, I think. Jordan tried to dress up like a college youth, but he admitted to himself he was not with the times. Draven had been following Christopher all morning. Draven tried to dress up like a college youth, but he had admitted to himself that he was not with the times. Yet he managed to do a pretty good job. He even went out and bought a book bag and put some books in it to complete the disguise. Yep, alright, so next paragraph. I don't like that. Gotta get rid of this first sentence. Draven had been following Christopher all morning, because I kind of want to not be repetitive and say something similar at this paragraph. So Draven had been following Christopher all morning. Let's change that to... got up early to make sure had the right clothing to blend in on campus. There we go. That's better. Draven got up early to make sure he had the right clothing to blend in on campus. Draven tried to dress up like a college youth, but he had admitted to himself that he was not with the times. Hey, you managed to do a pretty good job. What are they telling me to change? Nope. They just want to change word choices. He even went out and bought a book bag and put some books in to complete the disguise. Now I can say he'd been following around Draven all morning. We're following Christopher, not following Draven. Oops. And I still spelled it wrong. I forget. Woo! Thank you for the bits, buddy. Appreciate it a lot. Let's see. Get rid of that sentence, it's bothering me. He had been following Christopher ever since he had left for school. Nothing all that unique happened. He had followed Christopher all morning, including two classes. Let's see. Draven hadn't gone into the classrooms himself. He sat in the hallway and was able to hear the class, non-class, the classroom well enough. Let's see. One of the classes is going to be world history. I need to think about what other class would he be taking. Literature? Modern lit, sure. I'm going to have to look up some kind of book from the 1960s or the 50s that they would be talking about modern literature in college, and just kind of put a sentence there saying what they're talking about. But I have no idea what they would be talking about in a modern literature class in the 1960s. So I'm going to have to research that. So I'm just going to put insert modern lit book conversation. And when I do that, I usually highlight that bit, and so I can find it easily later. I don't do that very much anymore, but sometimes I do it for names of things, and but I try to not leave things like this. I also did for descriptions for some characters. Like, I don't want to describe a character, I just want to write this. So sometimes when I get to a point where I don't know what I'm going to write, in the past I would just get frustrated and quit. Woo, thanks for contributing to the beer stream. Is it enough? Not enough yet. Almost need 800 more points, I think. Yep, 92%. So in the past, I would get really frustrated when I couldn't think of a name or I couldn't think of a description, and so I would just quit and stop writing. Now I moved into doing just leaving it blank. Don't let that break the process. So, and that's what I've done for the last, I don't know, 5-10 years with my writing. And it definitely has helped me be more productive by just not concentrating on that one little bit that I couldn't figure out. So I still do it. I don't do it as much as I used to because I just got better at creating, I guess, and writing and my process. Just, the act of doing helps you learn if you're mindful. Yeah. So anyways, back to writing this paragraph. and I will go back and finish that one sentence at a later date. And I guess the second class will be world history. Yeah, I think you're right, Octavian. A lot of people have saved up points. Not sure. Yeah, thank you. I don't know why I didn't do it when I was younger, but I don't know. In my late 20s and 30s, I just it kind of clicked. Don't let that bother you. I mean, I guess I kind of grow into a person, and I kind of take that philosophy to other things, to not let them bother me and stop me from doing something I want to do. It's kind of a weird realization that there's a crossover there, but there is. So second class is going to be world history, survey course. I think, first term, you're doing your survey courses. His uncle kind of wanted him to broaden his perspective, and so I think those classes are perspective broadening. Not modern history. And actually, world history is really broad, and they actually in college they break it up to different time periods. The world history, even on the survey courses. So maybe that's not the best title. I think I'm getting too nitty or picky. Actually, I think they're going to be talking about the 30 Years' War, because I'm going to be using that later for discussion, so I think it would just be an interesting coincidence that they're talking about the 30 Years' War, which was in the 1800s in the continent, and it was a clusterfuck. I don't remember it too well. I just kind of remember the generics of it. But I remember that wasn't Switzerland. Sweden. The king went down there and he was like a ball breaker. He was young, new ideas. He just slaughtered people for a long time in the 30 Years' War, and it was amazing, and I loved it. He eventually died in the wars, which was sad because he was, I don't know, he was a fun figure, and I don't remember his name. That's a dumb correction. I'm going to ignore that. Alright, the second class, he went to, what was it, history course. They were discussing Alright, so yeah. I don't like that in both cases. Christopher had no questions. No. I need to find... I'm trying to think of a way to say Draven was listening but couldn't see in, so doesn't know what Christopher is doing. Alright, both bosses. Draven couldn't see what he's doing. but never heard him speak. Actually, I don't think that needs to be a second sentence or a second paragraph. But I don't like having big paragraphs. I mean, writing is by its nature a visual platform, but people don't necessarily, unless you're doing like poetry or experimental poetry, they don't think about the visual impact that writing can have. But it does have an impact, and so that's one reason that I don't like huge paragraphs. It's just not pretty, and it can also not be conductive to reading, because if you don't break up your paragraphs well, they can just turn into a monotonous mess and just kind of blend together, at least from my own perspective from reading. I've heard people also agree with that. I don't know if it's everyone's experience, because I have learning disorders that affect things. So I'm not sure what an average person's perspective would be, but my perspective is smaller paragraphs make for a better reading experience. Yeah, I can do that for sure. Let me take a drink of water really quick. So this is a short story. It's set in Chicago in the 1960s, although reading it, there's nothing to indicate that it's Chicago or the 1960s. That's something I'll be adding in later. It is a story about it's a story about one person called Christopher. There are two vampires which are trying to sire him. He has to make the choice about which vampire he wants to go with. We haven't gotten to the point where he has to make that, or he's confronted with that decision yet, though. At the beginning, Christopher fights off a couple people that were trying to rape a woman, and he knocks out the leader of the gang. The other two people run away, and then he leaves that scene, helps out the woman out of the alleyway, and then it switches scenes, and we go into a scene of perspective of Draven, which is one of the vampires. He watched Christopher take out the leader. He was mildly impressed with how quietly he had been walking, and after Christopher leaves the alleyway, Draven, the vampire, jumps down and grabs the thug, and the unconscious thug, and jumps back up to a ledge on one of the buildings because Christopher is starting to turn around. And I'm not sure if I made that clear. That's why he left the alleyway, because he saw Christopher turning. So I'm probably have to go and correct that, because I don't think I did that. But Christopher turns, thinking he had a weird feeling, weird sensation. Christopher turns, sees that the guy's gone, and then continues on. But Draven decides, wow, that guy might have actually felt my presence. There's something unique about him. And he followed Christopher home, jumping through rooftops and stuff like that. And sitting on the roof, he listened into the house and found out that Christopher's in college. He's going to college tomorrow, and that he has an uncle that he's meeting for lunch. So then, and he decides, I'm going to follow Christopher around tomorrow and see if this kid does anything else, and see if there is something special about him or not. And then we skip to the next scene, which is Christopher having lunch with his uncle Oliver, who's also called Philip Clowes. He's a character from a novel I've been working on and posting on my Patreon, if you want to read that. It's free. And so he's having in this story, this Philip Clowes character is called Oliver. And in this scene, it's important that Christopher talks about not liking going to college. He wants to be a fighter. Oliver is the person teaching him his fighting. Oliver relents as to finish college. I will talk with your parents. I will train you if you do good grades. Continue doing good grades. and after, if you still want to do fighting, I will help you get into boxing. And Christopher's really excited about that. Then they change topics, and Oliver mentioned that someone died recently, or last night, and it was near Christopher's house. Christopher's like, whoa, did I kill that guy? And he brings up the fight to his uncle, and his uncle's like, don't worry about it. I will see if you killed someone, and I will take care of it. And that was the end of that scene. Also, in that scene, Oliver jumped up out of his chair, scanned the crowd, and sat back down. It's not explained in that scene because it's going to be explained in this. Oops. Sorry, hit my mic. It'll be explained in this next scene that I just started writing, which is from Draven's perspective. He's been following Christopher around all day, and that's at where we are right now, describing Christopher following him around. The main point of this scene is that he follows Christopher, obviously, and he sees Oliver sitting with Christopher, and Oliver is a vampire he knows. And he's like, oh crap, I don't want him to see. And then he does something to leave. He uses blood magic to shift into the shadows and disappear. And it's implied that that Oliver is able to sense Draven, and that's why Oliver stood up in the middle of the last scene. So we're connecting the scenes. So hopefully that was a good, thorough explanation of the scene so far, or the story so far. Not sure if you wanted something as in-depth, but all we got is time. Thank you, or Chief, thanks for the follow, I appreciate that. Alright, so we'll get back to writing this scene here, and please interrupt with questions about the story or why I did something, but I'm going to try to explain my process while I make changes. Oh my god, we made it to the beer tasting stream. It's been achieved. Thanks to you, Gus. No. The motivation is very important, but oh yeah, cheers. The motivation is important. It's not the motivation. The motivation is just that he likes fighting. Like it's kind of hinted at in the story, but he's been taught fighting ever since a young age by Oliver, and he just really likes it. He likes the physicality of it, the discipline. It's just something he really wants to do, and his family and his uncle wants Christopher to go to college. They don't really want him pursuing fighting as a profession. They see value in learning how to fight, obviously, but they just don't think it is the profession that they want their son and their nephew to go into. So that is part of the contention in the story, is that Oliver wants to pursue a career in fighting Christopher wants to pursue a career in fighting because that is what he is passionate about. And so boxing, I think in the 60s, is the biggest, well-known fighting sport in America. So that's why I said boxing. He learns other martial arts too. It's not just boxing. But if it was like in the modern day, if it was like 2020, he would be going for mixed martial arts probably, because he would be able to better use his abilities. So that is his motivation. That is his fighting is his passion. Boxing is his passion. Proving that he can better himself physically is his passion. And so that's his motivation. And I'm not sure how clear I've made it so far in the story, but I've definitely dropped hints that that is his motivation. Hopefully that was a good enough explanation. It's a good question. But yeah, that beer tasting, going to talk about the beer tasting stream a little bit. I'm not sure when I'm going to do it. Yeah, and I think I've talked a little bit about it in the story, but it will definitely come up later. So I think it will be explored more. In fact, one of the and later on, when he has to choose between the vampires, there's on one side there is this person he's known most of his life, his uncle, who's a vampire, that wants him to become a vampire, but he also doesn't, and he's taught him how to fight, but it's not like the motivation behind Oliver's life is not the fighting. And so, in one hand, he's choosing a more well-rounded vampire, but on the other hand, he's going to find out that Draven, the mysterious vampire that he knows nothing about, his life is about fighting, hunting, bettering himself, learning new things, and always evolving. So he'll be drawn between going to do what he wants to do and live his life, and then confronted with what he knows and someone he cares for. So that's going to be like the big tension point, I think. Putting my hands together. Tension point of the story. So his motivation is very important because it will help guide him through his decision-making process. Talking about the beer stream though, I'm not sure when I'm going to do it. I want to do it as soon as I can. So today, after this, I'm going to go shopping and I'm going to go look for beers, what I can get in my local area. And I think might even write up the beer stream stuff today after I'm done streaming and get that done. Probably 2 weeks, probably on a Saturday. Don't want to conflict with anyone else's schedule because I don't want to. So I'm going to talk with other people to make sure I choose the right time. I'm not sure what time that will be yet. If you join my Discord server, you will be kept up to date on all the things that I'm doing and trying to build a community there. This is the first jump into the writing aspect of the community. So, yeah, Discord's growing. Beer stream in the bag. Thanks for everyone. I'm glad everyone's interested in it, and I look forward to doing it. I have to think of a new goal. Yeah. Go ahead and go back to the writing. Trying to determine how I can fill this paragraph out a little more, because it's a little short. I want to add a little bit more description, but I don't want to get like too telly, like I'm telling you what's happening and not showing you. But honestly, I do a lot of the telling and dialogue and stuff like that, but I still like the show. And it's some of the basic things back in high school, like, show, don't tell kind of mentality. But there's a place for just telling. Right, the second class he went to was a history course. They were discussing the 30 Years' War, I'm going to say in Europe, just so people know it's in Europe. In both classes, Draven couldn't see what he was doing, but he never heard him speak. That's alright. I'm pretty sure that's going to get reworked at some point. So yeah, both classes, Draven couldn't see what he was doing, but he never heard him speak, so he assumed he had no questions. This is going to tell me to delete that. Oh, yeah, comment makes sense. He assumed he had no questions. Both classes were lectures. Alright. So. After his last class. Let's see. Between classes and after. Wow. Between classes. Yeah. Get rid of after, because that makes no sense. Between classes, Christopher sat in the courtyard and read his history textbook. After his class, Draven followed Christopher to a little cafe near campus. In fact, it was right next to one of the school's. Oops. Courtyards. Alright, so now Draven is leaned up against a tree, a good distance away from Christopher, but in such a spot that he could still easily see and hear him. Check out one of his books he was carrying around. So I'm going to find a book that I like that is older than the 1960s that I'm going to put here, just for funsies, but I'm going to have to look it up. I think I'm going to do like The Black Cauldron or something like that. I'm going to buy Lloyd Alexander, because I think that was pre-60s. And I'm going to have it just be a volume of that and just mention it, just because it's one of my favorite series. So I'm just throwing it in there. So I'm going to come back and rewrite that at some point. Highlight that. So this is going to be the part where Draven finally notices the uncle, Oliver, and then you learn that he is a vampire. So I'm not sure if I did this approach right. I think it would have been better if Yeah, I'm gonna have to go rewrite this. I'm gonna go do it now. So it's better that that Oliver comes to the table when Christopher sits down, and that is the point when Draven notices who he is, because it makes no sense for Draven to not have noticed Oliver sitting at the table before Christopher sat down. So sometimes these logical fallacies come up, so then I have to go back and rewrite stuff just so it makes more sense to me. So I'm going to go back and make a few sentence alterations to make this scene make more sense. And it really is just changing a couple sentences, I think. Don't need that extra paragraph there. Let's see. Yeah, just get rid of the sitting. The sitting across from Christopher was his Uncle Oliver. Alright, so it wasn't long before. There we go. It wasn't long before his Uncle Oliver joined him at the table. I don't think... I mean, this sentence makes less sense, but it's fine, I think. So I'll leave it in for now. Might change it with a rewrite, because it's like Christopher scooted up his chair almost like he had, just got there, when he's actually the one that was there before his uncle. So I might rework this more before. Right now it is logically readable, so I will keep it. Alright, and we'll go back down to the scene. Alright. No, I'm going to change it so he did not begin to read the book, because that means that he takes longer than I want it to be. Yeah, let's see, he took out one of the books he was carrying around. And with the intention to use it as cover to watch Christopher. Ooh, I spelled it right. I think I want to add in a detail that there. Now it's within the scene is now logically makes sense that there is an empty table, so I had to put that little detail in there so it makes a little bit more sense to me. Alright. So now coming down to where Oliver comes and sits down. So, this is where I am naming this character Oliver, whose alias is also Philip Clowes, named character for a novel I've been writing. But this character, Draven, knows his original name, and so I was forced to think about his original name. And I had one that was like Theron, but I don't remember. This is why you should write things down, and I don't remember exactly how I spelled it, but it was like... it's hard to remember, but it was like Theron. So I'm just going to use Theron for now. And highlight it in case if I choose to change it. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Theron. So I'm trying to decide how much detail I want to go into about their relationship, because this is a short story. I'm more willing to give away some of the background of these two characters, because I'm not sure how many people will see it, but I have a lot of background information already decided for them. But in the novel I'm writing, where Philip Clowes is one of the main characters, he is very mysterious. There's no background. People don't know anything about him, and I kind of want to keep that that ignorance to the public for longer. Like, if I was a big name writer, this would actually be a real concern. But since like I am a kind of a nobody in the world when it comes to writing, it's not as big a concern, I guess, to spoil people's surprises. So yeah, I'm trying to decide what level I'm willing to share here. Also, I don't want to make it seem hokey, so I have to put it in a way that's kind of mysterious, doesn't give any firm details, but makes you think and wonder about their relationship. So it's a little more complex than just like throwing out words. So I've got to take a second to think about that. I'm going to take a drink of water. I think the lo-fi music was a good choice. I don't think the synth music would have been the best choice for this, but I like the easy listening background music. Alright, it wasn't long before the uncle came, sat at the table. Seeing the uncle, should be a comma there. Draven nearly turned around and walked away. He knew him. It was Theron, the last person he expected to see. I don't remember the years for the 30 Years' War. I'm going to look that up because I want to use that here. Alright, 30 Years' War. Let's see. Yeah, I was way wrong about the century. I completely missed that. It's 1618 to 1648. So last time I expected to see. Alright, so that was the last time he actually saw Therion. Alright. Last person I expect to see. He hadn't seen... So I'm going to say the 1680s. 300 years. Or 300 years. Alright, so he hadn't seen him in over 300 years, and he wasn't sure he wanted to see him now. Let's see. So, just wanted to kind of talk to himself here for a second. So, interesting. Interesting people this boy knows, he says to himself. Alright. Yeah. Spelled that instinct wrong. He had fought off the first instinct of running and continued to watch and listen. So here I am put in a position where I have to retell the scene that I had just wrote, but in a different way, from a different perspective, to make it still interesting and not like you're just rehashing the same information. I did that alright the first two transition scenes, so need to figure out how to summarize the conversation in an interesting way. Because, like, I don't need to... Yeah, the concern is bombarding the reader with the same information, and so that gets boring, and I don't want to have someone get bored. Alright, so let's see. And I'm trying to avoid the he said this, he learned that kind of sentence structure, which I might have to do here and then rewrite it later. So I just want to get through this. Right, continue to fight off his first instinct of running and continue to watch and listen. Maybe I'll do it in such a way that's like an internal dialogue. I think I'm going to do... I like dialogue, so it's going to be an internal dialogue with him talking about himself as he's witnessing and listening the conversation that Oliver and Christopher are having. So how do I want to start that? Sorry, I had an idea and then I lost it when I started talking. Should have wrote it down first. That's the first time it's actually happened in this stream, and I'm really surprised because talking, I kind of lose my train of thought sometimes. Okay, so he fought off his first instinct and tend to watch and listen. Gotta italicize this. I don't want to say interesting, I just said interesting. Alright, so summarize the first bit when they're talking about history. Oh, hydrate! I can do that. You may have noticed I increased the price from 100 to 350, so I don't have the 10 hydrates in a minute experience again. So I summarized the conversation that they had about the fighting. So then this is where the waitress comes out, takes their order. Get rid of it. I can't say that. The bladder buster for sure. I'm really surprised I haven't had to use the bathroom based on how much water I've had today. And how long the stream has gone. The conversation was broken up by the waitress who came to take their order. So the boy is taking the blame. So I feel a little disingenuous here. The person he had killed. So the boy is taking... Oh, I had killed. So the boy is taking the blame. That could be useful. I'm saying that here, but I'm not sure if I will actually have to even use that knowledge. So it's not paying off anywhere, so that's kind of why this seems like it might not be a good idea to say. Just because, like, if there's a gun in the first act, by the end of the play, someone has to have been shot, kind of our principle. So I try not to drop hints that I'm not going to use. But now that I think about it, I think I mean, I'll leave it in. I'm leaving it in. But I think I will use it slightly in one of the scenes just to bring it up. But it's not going to be like a pivotal plot point. It's not going to be the backbone of why it is the backbone of why Draven is, or how Draven is pressuring the boy into becoming a vampire. This is going to be the point where Christopher stands up, and I'm not sure. I guess it's going to be, yeah. See, I'm not sure who did what first. Did Draven use his power so Oliver noticed it, or did Oliver notice something and then Draven use his power? I think I'm going to go with the latter. So right as Oliver is standing up, then Draven takes off. Yeah. Because this is a pretty short scene. Doesn't need to be a really long one. It is for a short story. This short story has so many scenes in it. It's very, in my mind, I've thematically written this like a movie, in a way, because in my head, a lot of my writing, not all of it, is done in scenes. So like storyboarding in my head for a movie. This is exactly how I write and plan my things out. So I don't actually write storyboards or anything like that. I have no creative ability. I have no ability to draw, so I don't literally draw storyboards. But it's how I picture it in my head. Oh, sorry. Blocking that. Alright, so he melted in the shadows and disappeared. I'm now going to talk a little bit. The next scene is going to be basically him down the I don't know if I want him to be in an alleyway or disappeared into his hotel. And I guess it really doesn't matter where he goes. It does talk up. The only reason it matters is because of power levels and how much power do I want them to use. So it's the difference between I step into shadow and I go 100 feet, and I step into shadow and I go a mile. Like what can Robin do? What is his limit of his abilities? So I haven't decided that yet. So I'm a little bit torn about where I want him to disappear to. I'm just going to have him appear in his hotel room. I'm going to italicize all this. There we go. Clear and stepped out of the shadows of his hotel room. Italicize that. It's the end of that paragraph. Oh. No, that's dumb suggestion. So I've been streaming for 3 hours and 37 minutes. This is the longest I have streamed in over 4 years. I think this is the natural pause point for my stream today. I think it was a success. I hope everyone enjoyed it. And I don't mind sitting here talking for a little while, but I'm not going to get into the next scene. So if anyone has any questions, love to hear them. The next stream is going to be on Monday. It's my gaming stream, MMO Mondays. It's 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I'm thinking about changing my time though, just to try out different time formats. My schedule will be posted on Twitch, obviously on the schedule function, but also schedule stuff will be posted in my Discord, and the conversations will continue in the Discord. So if you're interested in my content, you should probably consider joining the Discord if you already have it. And this story also has a character, and I've mentioned this earlier, and so if you knew, maybe you hadn't heard, but the Oliver character in this is a character called Philip Clowes from a novel I've been writing, and I've been posting once a month on my Patreon the progress I've made. So if you want to go and read more of my writing, you can go to my Patreon, and let me post a link just in case you're interested. And I did not prepare to post this link, so take a second. This is my Patreon. The story is free. I post it once a month, so you don't have to pay to read it if you're interested in reading it, but I would appreciate support if you want to give me support. So since there doesn't seem to be any questions being thrown out, I will close today, and I will definitely be doing another one of the streams. I'm not sure how often, but I do like Saturday at 11. Gives me time to get up and get ready and still stream. So it'll probably be at 11 on Saturday at some point. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day. I'd also enjoy... Sorry, that was a good ending, but now I'm going to request that, like, if you have any suggestions, or if you liked it, you didn't like it, or it's kind of bland, or yeah, any suggestions, go ahead and send them to me. You can post them in the Discord, or you can send me a whisper on Twitch, or if you have my Facebook, you can send me a Facebook message. So now that's the end of the stream. So I hope everyone has a good day. Goodbye.